Steven Universe Future's finale is just days away, so Cartoon Network decided to release the first part of the 4-episode wrap-up last night on the Cartoon Network app. I was lucky enough to be able to see it for myself, so I'm going to break it all down for you, but keep in mind we will be going into extreme spoiler territory here. Now let's dive into it. The episode picks up exactly where the last one left off, with Steven in the bathroom with Jasper. The Gems demand to know what's going on because Steven has been missing for several days now, and are shocked to see Jasper with them. Jasper is referring to Steven as my diamond, and also with the pronoun he, a bit of a rarity and a sure sign of respect from her. Steven leaves them all behind, even Jasper, and insists that she should find something better to do with her life, and returns to Homeworld. One thing he mentions is that he's been avoiding the diamonds all this time, which is something I talked about in previous videos before. Steven acted chummy with the diamonds in the movie, but in the show it was hinted that he was avoiding them because he was still scared, and it's nice to see that that was confirmed. When Steven arrives at Homeworld, it is revealed that there is an election going on with the two Zircons from the trial running against each other. There's a great joke about how one is a diamond stooge and the other isn't, big commentary on our current political climate in my opinion, since both are very similar even if on the personality level they're very different. The pebbles are running free, even parts of the palace wall that we learned were sentient gems back in Change Your Mind are out and about, but frankly you'd think she'd want to poof and reform with legs or something to make it easier, but who am I to judge? Steven runs into Spinel at the palace, who immediately takes him to talk to Yellow Diamond. This setup is the formula for the episode, which is Steven going to each of the diamonds, one at a time, to see if they can help him with his strange, powerful outburst that he's been having. Along the way, he learns that the diamonds have reversed their powers to help benefit Gemkind, and maybe they can help Steven too. It's great seeing them do good, but also kind of annoying. It's played up to be over the top and sickly sweet, making you feel like it's just phony, especially since we never actually saw the diamonds feel bad about what they did. Sure, they learned to love Steven for who he is and do good because of him, but there was no reason for why they would want to change and be good people on their own. Yellow Diamond's key power, of course, was destabilizing gems, so now she has channeled that power to actually restabilize them. She's taking apart all of the forced fusion experiments that she did and is putting the gems back together as best as she can, and using her powers to help fix their physical forms, even though the gem still remains cracked. She's trained well enough that she can do this entirely on her own. Not only that, but she can also apparently fix the remaining issues with corruption, removing their horns entirely. One really big thing she notes is that she wants to try and fix the cluster as well. I imagine that we won't be seeing this actually on screen, but it's implied that this will be her next big project, that after the show ends, she's going to go down to Earth and start putting all those gems back together again. It's nice to know that they're going to get a happy ending too, even if Yellow Diamond is seemingly OP now. It's strange because it seems almost like Steven isn't needed to heal the gems anymore. Sure, they're still cracked, but their actual physical forms seem just fine with Yellow Diamond alone. She can also alter the form of healthy gems any way she wants, and while she can help Steven grow and shrink, it doesn't stop him from growing even more with his pink outbursts. Yellow deduces that this is because Steven's issue is emotional and sends him to Blue Diamond, who of course had the power to force her sadness onto others. Seeing her now, she's rather happy, and she's creating clouds that make people feel happy too. She sings a song about the whole process, and I'm glad it happened because I always wanted to have her sing her own song, but it wasn't the best in the series, and it's definitely not getting stuck in my head. Steven indulges Blue's new power for a minute, but the clown doesn't really help him in the end. It makes him happy, but it doesn't make him feel better. This is a great parallel for using antidepressants. While I don't think that the show would shame anyone who wants or need medication to maintain their emotional well-being, I think they are also understanding of people like Steven, who don't want to magically be made to feel better without addressing the issues that they feel they really have. Blue Diamond theorizes that Steven's issue isn't that he doesn't want to feel good, but rather he doesn't believe he deserves to feel good, so using her power on him is wrong. Instead, she sends him to White Diamond, who they believe can help him with his issues of self-worth. When Steven finds White Diamond, she seems to be meditating, and she talks about how she went on a charitable journey to help other gems feel heard. Her power, of course, was controlling other gems, so this means the reverse of her power is allowing others to control her. It feels a bit silly and sloppy, but the intent is very nice. Diamonds aren't just an authority in the Gempire, they were physically bigger than the other gems, so allowing the gems to take control of her body gives them a sense of power, to feel just as big and important as she is, if not more so because they are literally controlling her. White Diamond appears to be conscious during this, so she experiences everything they make her do, both emotionally and physically. Keep that in mind because it's important later. This is different than when she controls others, as everyone else seems to lose their memories when this happens. Pink Pearl talks about how it felt like thousands of years were just gone when she was under White Diamond's control. When Spinel does it, it's actually kind of creepy and unsettling, but the idea behind it is rather interesting, though I think it would have been more appropriate for White Diamond to release gems from certain mentalities that restrict them, like how a Pearl still feels the need to serve even after being liberated. Perhaps she could help rid gems of those mental barriers that were holding them back. This power is ultimately helpful to the narrative though. Steven takes control of White Diamond himself, something he didn't necessarily need White Diamond for because Pink Diamond already had the power to take control of others and see through their eyes, as we saw with Steven and Lars or with Steven and Blue Diamond. Because of that though, it makes the fact that White Diamond can allow him all the more interesting, because she and Pink Diamond are opposites, both have variations of the same power, to take control and to let others control them, though they seem to use different methods. White is about mind control, whereas Pink is about empathy. White Diamond allows Steven to take control of her so that he can have this conversation with himself, something she thinks would be helpful since there is no one else in the universe like Steven, being half human and half gem. Steven ultimately ends up having a freakout while this is happening because the diamonds have always been villains to him, and while they mean well now, those memories don't go away. He accidentally destroys a pillar and ultimately scares himself because he sees the image of White Diamond destroying things. He begins to have traumatic flashbacks to change your mind, and ultimately allows his dark side to take control of him again. In this crazy hallucination type dream scenario, we see Steven as the giant and White Diamond as the human-sized one, but still entirely under Steven's control. Steven forces White Diamond against a wall and forces her to smash her head against it, which presumably would cause her to shatter. While this is happening, the two sides of Steven are arguing about this, one who is vengeful and one who is afraid, and White Diamond might be a little bit of both of those in him. It's hard to tell where she ends and he begins. Some of you might notice that this is the scene from the opening theme where White Diamond appears with the villains. The colors are darker here and more intense, but I imagine that this is because of the setting. In the original draft of the opening, the art director had White Diamond as bright white, but Rebecca Sugar asked them to change the colors and explain what would be happening in that scene, and it would appear that it's Steven taking control and trying to get her to shatter herself. In the end, Steven fails in making White Diamond shatter herself, but instead he wakes up and finds that the version of himself that smashed his head against the wall was actually the version of himself in his body. Now he is terrified, not just because of White Diamond, but because of himself. After having just shattered Jasper a few hours ago, he still can't control himself, and almost shattered White Diamond with the very first chance he got. The depths that they are taking to Steven in this series are absolutely amazing, and honestly scary. Steven's having a hard time forgiving the diamonds for what they did, but ultimately he's becoming like them in many ways, which will be an interesting way to approach the idea that we're all flawed individuals, not just good guys and some bad guys that maybe get redeemed. Steven ends up running away because of this, and a few interesting things happen. First, he leaves his sandal behind, which is another Cinderella reference. I wonder how that's going to come to play in the future episodes. And he's beginning to transform quite a bit as well. Not just growing in size, but odd parts of him are bulging around. So it looks like we're getting closer to him becoming the big old wormy boy. Other fun things that happen if you look closely is there are fused topazes walking around, there are two new gems that are being helped named Churn and Flint from what I can see in the credits, and Steven's hair is starting to look more like pink diamonds. That's all I have for you guys today, but expect a really awesome video later this week, as well as other less awesome but still awesome videos throughout, and we'll see you next time.